Zach Gowdy reports.
Or everything for me now is my life, because that's saved. I have my life with me, because if it would be 1 or 2 more minutes, my would be in the ashes.
Abhiroop Dasgupta is lucky to be alive, but he has to rebuild his life from less than zero, less than what he came to Canada with 3 years ago as a master's student from India.
You don't know where to start, because when I entered Canada, I entered with minimum, but I entered with something.
November 2nd, a Saturday morning. Dasgupta woke up in the rented house he shared with several other students and headed for the washroom. Right away, he caught the distinct smell of burning plastic.
So I went to my room, and when I opened my door, my whole bed is engulfed in fire. So my first reaction was to get everybody out. On my way, like when everybody came out of their room and heading towards the door, while moving towards the exit, I saw my door was bit open, I could see my folder right in front of me.
That folder contained his passport, his student visa, his travel and immigration documents.
My identity, the whole identity as an immigrant and of my own home country.
He knew it was dangerous, but he needed that folder, so he pushed open his bedroom door.
But when I opened the door, the whole room is in fire. Like in microseconds, it all flash fire on my face, my hands, and when I closed the door kind of exploded on my back too.
Dasgupta staggered out of the house and collapsed. When he woke up, he was in intensive care with 2nd and 3rd degree burns. 3 days had gone by. Dasgupta lost all his possessions, but more than that, he's lost precious time. He was hoping to complete his degree and return home by the end of the year. Now he's besieged with doctor's appointments, meetings, and phone calls.
Now I have to also concentrate of rebuilding my stuff and this paperwork and my school. So it's like when a point comes when a guy says like I need a break or my life needs a break, kind of.
Still, Dasgupta knows he's lucky to have a life to need a break from.
I'm better now. Like I know thing has happened, and I know thing can be rebuilt. Like I have my life, and I'm very grateful for it.
Zach Gowdy, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, imagine spending hours decorating for the holidays only to have some sticky-fingered Grinch steal it all. Well, it's beginning to look a lot like crime for one St. John's family. Here now, Cease Hare with that story.
As far as Christmas decorations go, there are only a few scraps left at this home on Warbury Street. Hundreds of dollars in Christmas decorations were stolen from this location early Tuesday morning. This is how 24 Warbury Street looked on Monday night, a Christmas storybook scene for all to see and enjoy. But when 21-year-old Chris Somerton came home from his shift early Tuesday morning, the scene was desolate by comparison. The inflatable decorations were gone, even the extension cords.
Down here we have brand new 7-foot Santa Claus. Down here we had a 6-foot Olaf. We had a Snoopy house over here. And the main one, which you can't even really get here, you had to get online, was a massive 10-foot long by 7-foot tall Olaf inflatable.
The Christmas scene on the front porch doesn't happen by accident. It takes considerable effort. But Somerton says it's not about the lost time or money. It's about how his family will remember this Christmas.
They just took the joy out of it, right? We just try to help the neighborhood and make the kids happy, make families happy. That's what you want for Christmas, right?
Now, when you say make the kids happy, what do you mean?
All the neighborhood kids, they come by every year taking pictures. Jim Roth put up the lights there Monday morning. I had guys walking down the road saying how they loved their children are so happy every Christmas and Halloween coming by to see the display we have. And then someone had to go and just steal it.
The RNC is investigating, and friends and family scour the neighborhood and online sites for signs of the stolen goods. The family says they'd be happy enough to get the stolen decorations back. And if they don't, they're offering a $500 reward for the arrest of whoever is responsible. Cease Hare, CBC News, St. John's.
A little bit bit of a gray day today for most of us along the northeast coast anyway. We did start to see some cloud cover from the south push in, but really it's an onshore flow for us, and that's why we're seeing most of that drizzle activity. Now, if I show you what's going on up through the Big Land, you're looking at a ridge of high pressure, so things are going to be quite quiet. But if I zoom out a little bit, our next weather maker is certainly on our doorstep. That's already bringing some snowfall warnings in some areas. Temperatures are really going to be playing a role into what happens as we head through the afternoon tomorrow, but it does look like a messy one through central with some pretty significant snowfall accumulations on tap. I'll have all the details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. An audit looking into Mile 1 and the Convention Centre indicates St. John's Sports and Entertainment is without focus. Council hired the company KPMG to look into the business, and the main takeaway? It's not clear what Mile 1's mandate is. Here now's Jeremy Eaton has more.
Even with two popular permanent tenants, the Growlers and the Edge, Mile 1 is still a problem for the city. So St. John's Sports and Entertainment hired someone to look into it. The report cites that there's confusion here on Duckworth Street. Are Mile 1 and the Convention Centre an economic engine for the city and surrounding areas, or are they money makers?
Are we trying to have it, balance where it doesn't cost any money, or is it an economic generator? In a way, it's a bit of both. So, with the mandate that the board has now and the new business plan that they're developing moving forward, it should be finalized soon. We'll look at different things like that. But at the end of the day, it is an economic driver, so that's why, it's very important to the city.
It's a massive investment with little in the way of a mandate. The report cites high fixed cost, an estimated $5.9 million. 64% of the budget is fixed, meaning the facility needs to be used a lot to make money. And there's the location. Not many touring bands and acts will stop in St. John's. The city throws a lot of money towards this, $1.9 million in 2019 and an expected $2.4 million next year.
Love having that building there. On our envision documents, people in the city want a place where they can live, breathe, work, and having part of that is having a building like Mile 1 to bring in events, to bring in activities, as well as the convention center, bringing in conferences, which are great for hoteliers, which are great for business and the economic spin-off as well.
Some in the city wonder why St. John's just doesn't cut its losses and sell this.
Who knows what could happen if someone buys it? It could change its use, so it's something that we're open to, but there'd have to be an offer put forward.
But don't expect to see a for sale sign outside of here anytime soon. Korab says even if there was an offer, the city would have to do a request for proposals. In the meantime, he and the board will work on a mandate to try to give St. John's Sports and Entertainment a clearer future. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, St. John's.
I was looking at Jeremy standing outside Mile 1 there, and I'm checking on my phone. For you Leafs fans, Maple Leafs have fired head coach Mike Babcock. So that's certainly going to be the talk of a lot of hockey fans, especially in this province. So there you go, Leafs dumping their coach. Well, now to our second favorite sport, politics. In Ottawa today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau unveiled his new cabinet, bringing 7 new faces to the table, but also hanging on to some familiar faces.
I, Seamus Thomas Harris O'Regan.
And that includes the MP for St. John South Mount Pearl, Seamus O'Regan, who is now the Federal Minister of Natural Resources. The former broadcaster's new role is seen as a promotion. Prior to the election, O'Regan was responsible for the Indigenous Services portfolio. Well, minutes before O'Regan was sworn in, and while reporters were still speculating about what was going on in Ottawa and whether he'd be the new Minister of Natural Resources, Premier Dwight Ball was asked for his thoughts on O'Regan taking on that role.
I think that would be good news for people in our province. It's Seamus certainly understands natural resource development in Newfoundland and Labrador. He is a very active participant in the recent negotiation and agreement on the Atlantic Accord. He's been very involved in things related to C-69 and the impact that could have on our province, and talked about, how we could actually strengthen Bill C-69 to make it even better for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians.
Now, with that shuffle, 36 cabinet members have been named in that new minority government, 2 more than when Liberals held a majority. 7 rookie MPs were among those who were sworn in today, while seasoned players like O'Regan were assigned new roles.
I, Christia Freeland, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear
Chrystia Freeland becomes both Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Governmental Affairs. Her old job in Foreign Affairs, well, that goes to Quebec MP François-Philippe Champagne. Also on the move, former Labour Minister Patty Hajdu becomes Minister of Health. The former Health Minister is no longer in the cabinet. The new Environment Minister is BC MP Jonathan Wilkinson, and his predecessor, Catherine McKenna, who you see there, she moves on to the Ministry of Infrastructure. Quebec MP Mark Miller, the new Minister of Indigenous Services, succeeding O'Regan, and another new face brought to the table from Ontario MP Marco Mendicino will become the new Minister of Immigration. You see him there. Some things stay the same, though. The Ministers of Justice, Finance, Defence, and Agriculture, among others, remain in charge of those departments. Now, Julie Van Dusen is going to join us live from Ottawa on Here and Now in about 25 minutes to walk us through today's cabinet announcements and what all of this means for a minority federal government. Well, back to politics in this province now, where politicians were talking about eye surgery in the legislature today. The Progressive Conservatives wanted to know when the government is going to follow through on its promise to allow cataract surgery to be performed in private clinics. The health minister says it'll happen, but only when the details are all worked out.
Financial piece is in place, the money is there. This is simply an issue of standards of care, standards of practice, and accreditation. Once that is dealt with, Mr. Speaker, we will be in a position to launch this program. This will increase access by roughly the demand that we anticipate of the order of something like 3,000 to 5,000 cataracts extra per year. We are waiting, and it's an issue of safety and standards, Mr. Speaker.
Doing a lot of skating between politics and hockey tonight on Here and Now. The future of the Provincial Senior Hockey Championship is in doubt. The Herder Memorial Championship is played annually by teams in leagues right across the island, but this year the Central West League only has 2 teams, and the Eastern League is refusing to play games with them. An official with Hockey NL says that means there will not be a provincial championship. This will be the first time since the 1990-91 season that the trophy will not be awarded. We'll be right back.
Clyde Oxford, the one-handed fisherman who finds ways to get things done, by hook or by crook. Sunday at noon and Monday at 7.
Okay, so it felt a little cooler this morning than the
bit.
day before, but really still not freezing horrible cold.
No,
right?
not here.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Not in St. John's. We did reach a high near 11 degrees yesterday
Yeah.
as we were leaving the studio, so it was quite nice. But a
Little wet.
A little wet.
Yeah.
Today, pretty much the same story, but a little bit cooler. So temperatures only reached a high near 6 degrees in St. John's, and then single-digit temperatures on the low side for the rest or the majority of the island, and then up through Labrador, still below 0 for Lab West and Happy Valley Goose Bay along the coast. You're still sitting in the single digits on the plus side of the mercury, or that was your afternoon high anyway. Today, those temperatures now have currently dropped. We're down to about 2 degrees in St. John's and 1 in Corner Brook. And these temperatures are really going to play a role in what type of precipitation we see tomorrow. A little bit of a system rolling through. This is what's happening right now. We have a ridge of high pressure to the north, and that's causing onshore flow along the northeast coast, which is why we're seeing the RDF. And then the next system bringing in some other cloud cover to the south, and that's thanks to a low pressure system. Most of that activity is currently over the water, but it's going to move towards us as we head through the overnight tonight. Certainly along the southern portion of the Burin Peninsula, as well as the Avalon, we'll start to see some showers overnight, and then they're going to continue to get even heavier as we head towards the morning hours, and you can see that with some snow further inland. So really along the coast will be rain. Further inland, it will be snow. And again, that's for tomorrow or early in the morning. This is tonight's forecast. You're not going to be really moving much from what we're sitting at right now. Generally looking at temperatures in the 1 to 3 degree range with those winds out of the northeast, about 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. Along the coast, similar, just a little less, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. But again, not showing up on those models, but anywhere really along the northeast coast, you're still looking at either drizzle or some flurries tonight, with the bulk of that precipitation down to the south. So Marystown, rather, looking at some rain. So here's tomorrow afternoon. Models pointing at central being where we're going to see most of that snow. And you can see as we head towards the Clarenville area, you're looking at rain and snow mixture through the afternoon. So heavy rain for sure on the Avalon, and that's really going to continue through the day. You can see even heavier rain moving in late day, and that's because those temperatures are going to be well above 0, but the bulk of the snow will be through central. So here's your current snowfall warnings. The interior, Grand Falls, Windsor, Gander, and the Canaveral Peninsula all in that snowfall warning. Otherwise, it's a special weather statement, and again, that's because you're going to see either rain or snow through the day. This is what I'm thinking snowfall-wise. This might change into tomorrow morning as we start to see some more forecast models, because they do not agree on exactly where the bullseye of this precipitation falls. And again, if it happens in the morning where we see a little bit more rain involved, these snowfall amounts may be significantly less. If it's more snow, they may be significantly more. So this is what I'm thinking right now. A good 10 to 20 centimeters is possible. The most snow will be more than likely south of the highway, with again the bulk of that rain over the Avalon. So just quickly, tomorrow those temperatures will be sitting in the single digits. Very windy with all of that rain tomorrow. Easterlies 50 to 70 kilometers per hour. There's your rain snow line, and anything north of that does look like it will be snow, or north and west of that will be snow. Temperatures though hovering around the 2 degree mark, so it will be a very wet snow. Not going to be nice to shovel, that's for sure. Along the west coast, you're pretty much going to sit this one out. You're looking at maybe a couple of centimeters of wet snow, but overall this will be a central event. 2 degrees for St. Anthony, 0 for Cartwright. Generally quiet up through Labrador. Some peaks of sun, potentially just a few flurries in the mix. So that's a look at your forecast. We'll look ahead coming up.
Well, the bouncy castle is up and a busload of children is on the way. This is all for National Child Day. We'll talk about what that is coming up.
back to the program.
And welcome back.
Well, it's time to check in with Carolyn Stokes, who is obviously very eager to report live at the Paul Reynolds Community Center. So, Carolyn, what's going on there?
Well, Anthony, it's a carnival here tonight. We don't see really anyone around at the moment because this event doesn't start until 6:30, but there are lots and lots of children on the way, I am told. We have lots of fun things to do. There's a Connect 4 game, there's games of chess, we have a bouncy castle, a Velcro wall, a game of Jenga over there if you want to play that, and some checkers, so lots of things to do. But you know, this event is about much more than just fun and games. This is also about raising awareness because today is National Child Day, and joining me now to talk more about that is Councillor Jamie Korab. So tell us more about what this is all about tonight.
Yeah, so 30 years ago, it was proclaimed National Child Day. Worldwide, it's World Children's Day. City of St. John's been celebrating now for 20 years, and it's a chance for us to celebrate children, living a healthy, happy life, and helping them reach their full potential. So that's one of the things we have going here today at the Youth Carnival.
Can you describe some of the things that will be happening here tonight? Because I mentioned a few things, but there's more stuff happening here tonight too.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got the bouncy castles, the Velcro wall, chess, checkers, life-size Jenga, which can be dangerous, so be careful. We've got the Connect 4, just a number of things going on. We have popcorn.
Yes, you can smell the popcorn.
I had to do quality control, Carol, and so there's great toppings for the popcorn. So it's going to be great. We have kids coming in from a number of community centers. I know the Rabbitown Community Center, a Boys and Girls Club, everywhere. So there's a ton of kids coming here today, ages 12 to 16. Starts at 6:30, runs to 8, so there's still time if someone wanted to come down.
So this is a day to, appreciate children, the rights of children around the world, but it's also a day to recognize that, not all children are living a safe and healthy life. A lot of children are denied their rights. So when you look around here at this gym and, we're going to have some children coming in through the doors fairly soon, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel great that we can connect and get kids out, and it's November 20th, but we've been celebrating all week. It started with a Meet the Mayor contest, and we had a proclamation at City Hall, and it's been happening all week. We have a adult swim at the Muse Center Friday, an all-person swim here at the Paul Reynolds on Sunday, and then a big event, a move-it event at the Provincial Training Center on Crosby Road, and that's basically the Kennedy Game Center. Everyone can show up there. It's for all ages. I'll be there with my kids. They enjoy it every year. It's a ton of fun, and it's a chance for us to get out and celebrate the kids. Wear blue and use the hashtag #GoBlue.
Okay, so yes, it has been 30 years since the United Nations adopted the Convention of the Rights of a Child, but these days it's a very interesting kind of movement is happening worldwide. If you look at children, youth feeling very empowered, we had the global climate strike that just happened, Greta Thunberg. What's your sense of how youth are, moving around in this world today and empowering themselves?
Oh, I think it's fantastic with the climate change motion we passed at City Hall 2 weeks ago. I think it was the most emails I received from youth. So the fact that they are connecting on the environment, on healthy living, you're going to see a ton of kids here later. I think it's great that they're stepping up and they realize the future, it's in their hands. They're our next leaders. So the more we can connect with them and get them active and healthy, the better it is.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Councillor Jamie Korab. So yes, the children are on the way. I'm actually looking out. Bruce, if you want to just pan out there. A few of them are showing up now. So the next time I check in with you, Anthony, hopefully there will be lots of action and lots of kids to talk to.
All right, Carolyn, we'll talk to you in just a bit. That's Carolyn Stokes reporting live on Here and Now. Of course, you see a lot of appreciations for young people there. Well, how about some senior appreciation? A Halifax man has spent 5 decades protesting the destruction of his community. For years, Eddie Carvery has occupied a small portion of land that used to be part of Africville, which was a historic black neighborhood that the city demolished in the 1960s. But as Elizabeth Chu reports, the 73-year-old is now starting his fight all over again.
Eddie Carvery, Africville's longest-standing activist, is now 73 years old.
We're having a peaceful protest.
For 5 decades, he demanded reparations from the city of Halifax for destroying the homes and the church in his birthplace, Africville, a tight-knit black community. His protest took the form of an occupation of land, and following his mom's advice, Carvery kept it peaceful.
I like to give my mother the credit for that, because she gave me the ability to do something. I wanted to blow up City Hall. I wanted to blow up the bridge.
Earlier this year, Carvery allowed the demolition of 3 trailers. He says the agreement with the Africville Heritage Trust, a nonprofit group, was that a 4th one with his personal mementos was to remain. But when he showed up at his protest site one day, he discovered a backhoe and a heap of debris.
I developed a relationship with my trailers and my animals. That's all I had. When they did what they did, it just broke my heart, because everything I did was for my people.
The organization declined an interview with CBC, but Carvery says the nonprofit group has offered to commemorate his protest at the museum in this replica church. Lindell Smith, the city councilor for the district that includes Africville, says Carvery's protest was the visible symbol of resistance that prompted people to ask questions. A visible symbol now gone.
It was one of the times where I didn't see the Eddie Carvery, the fierce, the lion. It was more of somebody who was just sad at the fact that, you know, all the work in the activism that he's done was kind of just gone with a swipe.
Carvery would like to stage his protest again if his health allows, but says he can't afford another trailer.
Now I'm back at square one again.
Elizabeth Chu, CBC News, Halifax.
Justin Trudeau unveils his new cabinet in Ottawa. Next, our parliamentary correspondent Julie Van Duzen analyzes what matters in this minority shuffle. Welcome back. Well, as mentioned earlier, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau revealed his new cabinet today, and there are many changes. Chrystia Freeland becomes Deputy Prime Minister as well as Intergovernmental Affairs Minister. François-Philippe Champagne will take her former spot as Foreign Affairs Minister. Jonathan Wilkinson will be the new Environment Minister, and he replaces that woman, Catherine McKenna, who moves on to Infrastructure. And local MP Seamus O'Regan becomes Natural Resources Minister. 10 ministers, including that guy, Bill Morneau. He stays at Finance. Mark Garneau at Transport. Senior parliamentary reporter Julie Van Dusen is on this story for us this evening. So, Julie, what is Trudeau trying to do with this new cabinet?
Well, he's certainly trying to have Chrystia Freeland do pretty well everything. She's the big story today, Anthony, making her Intergovernmental Affairs Minister and Deputy Prime Minister at a time when the provinces, certainly the Western provinces, are pushing back, looking for more powers. You think of Jason Kenney of Alberta, Scott Moe, in the headlines every day, talking about Western alienation, separation, looking for more powers, more pipelines. I mean, she's going to have to kind of deal with this. Now, they're also leaning on the fact she's from Alberta, she grew up there, she's a daughter of a canola farmer, and she's no pushover. She had to deal with the Trump administration. So she will be working closely, though, with Energy Minister, Natural Resources Minister, Seamus O'Regan from your province. So he, obviously would know something about the energy sector, so he takes that to the table. And I know for yourselves, you've got someone with a lot of clout. He's already pushed for an update on the Atlantic Accord with your premier. But I mean, he will have a big portfolio. And also the environment. She will have to work with the environment minister, with Jonathan Wilkinson. They're playing up the fact he grew up in Saskatchewan, but he's from BC now. That's where his riding is. And his focus will be on the environment. All to say that the Prime Minister will really be leaning on Chrystia Freeland the most to try to figure out this balance between economy and the environment with the provinces. Take a listen.
We know that as we move forward on issues that matter right across the country, like energy and environment and other large issues, we're going to have to engage in a strong and positive way with governments, different orders of government right across the country. And I'm very much looking forward to doing that with Chrystia by my side.
Well, it's interesting, Julie. It's almost as if Freeland becomes the minister responsible for Wexit and what's happening out west. Is there a concern about any other region?
And keeping in mind, she still has to have her finger on Canada-U.S. relations. So, I mean, this woman's never going to sleep. Yes, Quebec is an issue, for sure. Since the Bloc Québécois won 32 seats, tripling their seats in Parliament, and they have this leader, Blanchet, who is extremely charismatic, let's say. So the Prime Minister has now put 11 Quebec ministers in cabinet, when you count him as a minister as well. And they've got pretty beefed up portfolios, including the Foreign Affairs Minister. You think of Mélanie Joly, who was upgraded to a big economic portfolio. I'll give you another example, Pablo Rodriguez, who's become the House Leader. Now that sounds boring, ho-hum, who cares? But in a minority parliament, he will have a big job trying to get legislation through with all these competing interests, and he's also made him Quebec lieutenant. So Quebec is really in his sights for the next election. Take a listen.
I continue to be a proud Quebecer, but I will be very much engaged on issues of national importance as well as issues facing various provinces. And having Pablo at my side on engaging with Quebec will be a very useful thing for us all.
He's giving everyone a lot of homework to do, big jobs, and they'll have to hunker down and get it done before the House comes back on December 5th.
All right, definitely an interesting shakeup with some significant changes there. Julie, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's our senior reporter, Julie Van Dusen, live in our Parliamentary Bureau in Ottawa. Well, from Ottawa to Washington, damning testimony today at the president's impeachment inquiry. The U.S. ambassador to the EU said he was ordered to pressure Ukraine to investigate Donald Trump's political rival, Joe Biden. Gordon Sondland drew a direct line to the president and his inner circle. CBC's Katie Simpson has the details.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony...
Armed with emails and details, the president's top man in Europe flipped on his boss.
I was acting in good faith. As a presidential appointee, I followed the directions of the president.
U.S. Ambassador to the EU, Gordon Sondland, confirmed he was part of a ploy to pressure the Ukrainians to launch an investigation into the 2016 election and Democratic rival Joe Biden and his son.
Everyone was in the loop. It was no secret.
The president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, was leading the charge, Sondland said, adding U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo knew, as did acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, Vice President Mike Pence, and former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
Now, in your opening statement, you confirm that there was a quid pro quo.
Correct.
And in fact, you say that other senior officials in the State Department and the Chiefs of Staff's office, including Mick Mulvaney, Secretary Pompeo, were aware of this quid pro quo, that in order to get the White House meeting, there were going to have to be these investigations the president wanted.
Correct.
Republicans tried to poke holes in Sondland's claims, highlighting a direct conversation he had with Trump in early September when the president specifically denied he wanted a quid pro quo.
And you believe the president, correct? You know what? I'm not going to characterize whether I believed or didn't believe. I was just trying to convey what he said on the phone.
But here's my response.
Trump seized on this, refuting the testimony by reading from prepared notes.
I say to the ambassador in response, I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell Zelensky, President Zelensky, to do the right thing.
Republicans appeared unaware Sondland was going to turn on Trump. In opening comments, they praised him, but by the end of the hearings, they tried to discredit him as someone who didn't take notes and wasn't very involved. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, the fun has begun. I'm here at the Paul Reynolds Community Center in St. John's, where a carnival of sorts is happening here tonight. We have a bouncy castle, we have a Velcro wall, we have lots of children who just came by to have lots of fun here tonight. It's National Child Day, and it's a day to raise awareness about the rights of children around the world. So I have a few young people here with me now, actually. What's your name?
My name is Hope.
Hope, and what's your name?
My name is Kadri.
Dakota.
Nice to meet you guys. So what do you think about what's happening here tonight?
I think this is going to be the most memorable moments in the year, so I think it's a good opportunity for you to come together and celebrate this day.
And what makes this so memorable?
I guess because like we get to have a lot of fun away from our parents, definitely away from our parents, away from all the basic bad stuff in the world, and like we just come here and have fun and let's just enjoy our moments.
And appreciate your life for sure. And what do you like about what's happening here tonight?
I like the fact that the young people can go out and have fun and meet new young people and just have a little bit of fun, going around playing these games.
Do you have any particular thing here tonight that you're going to tackle, that you're going to have fun with?
I really like this.
Build for a wall?
Yes. I also watched my friends play some chess.
So today is National Child Day, globally and nationally. What do you like best about being young?
I like the fact that you're kind of free, but not going out there and doing everything you want because all the responsibilities and everything, you know what I mean?
All right, thanks so much. And what do you think about what's happening here tonight?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be really chaotic here with everyone running around and wanting to do things, but I think it's a great opportunity for us to find who we are and what we like and stuff like that. So.
And how will you do that? How will being around all of these other young people, how does that help you?
It could help you with being social and getting to know people better and helping with friendships and stuff along the way. So.
What do you like best about being young?
I would have to say I like my freedom and all the great people that I get to meet along my life so that we can become great friends when we're adults and help each other out.
Some great answers, guys. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I'll let you get back to it. And that's it for me here at the Paul Reynolds Community Center in St. John's. Good night.
Well, before we get to the weather, is Carolyn going to actually put on that Velcro suit?
I hope so.
Yeah, I want
I
to
hope
see
there's
that.
pictures of that.
Going to get to weather, but big news for sports fans. The Mike Babcock era in Toronto, it's over. The Maple Leafs have fired the veteran head coach after a disappointing start to the season. The Leafs announced this afternoon that Toronto Marlies head coach Sheldon Keefe has been named Babcock's replacement. Babcock had signed the richest coaching contract in NHL history at $50 million US over 8 years. His firing comes amid a 6-game losing skid for the Leafs, who are currently on a Western road trip. So some big news in the NHL and some big news here for all you optimistic, hopeless Leafs fans.
You can tell he's not.
Here comes the hate mail. Yeah. Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
No shame. So please, pity. What hockey team do you like? Are you a Leafs fan?
I'm a bandwagon jumper.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm a ball player, so
that's
why.
Right. Okay, that's fine. You're right. You're allowed.
I still do like the Toronto, though, for sure.
Okay.
The Blue Jays.
We're allowed.
Obviously.
Where do you want to go?
Let's go Friday.
Okay, let's take a look at Friday.
We've already talked about tomorrow. We've talked about how we're going to see some significant snow for parts of Central. So we'll take a look at that. It's going to continue really for the most part into the evening and eventually change over to some rain for areas certainly towards the eastern portion of Central. And that's just because those temperatures should climb a little bit overnight. Otherwise, as that moves out, Friday afternoon, we're going to continue to see that potential for either some drizzle, maybe even some freezing drizzle in the morning hours, and then, or especially for closer towards Central, at least the interior rather. Otherwise, we're just looking at some cloudy periods through the day, some lingering drizzle possible for the Avalon, and then the best chance of seeing some clear breaks or at least some sunny breaks will be down around the southwest. Otherwise, the next system will roll in late Friday night into the beginning of Saturday morning. So here's your temperatures. Still looking at temperatures in the single digits, about 5 degrees for St. John's. Going to hover there for the next couple of days. And then essentially around 3 degrees for the rest. Again, that sunshine potentially for Port aux Basques, 5 degrees. Otherwise, we're looking at flurries up through the Big Land, certainly for Lab City, and you're hovering around -4. Now, looking ahead, we are in a very active weather pattern, so expect pretty much a system every day or day and a half to move through as we head towards the weekend, through the weekend rather. So here's Saturday, again looking at either flurries or showers for most of the island, and even southwestern portions, or rather southeastern portions of the Big Land. For the Avalon, it does look like we should stay as rain. Certainly through Saturday into Sunday, some cooler air moves in, and that means we could see the potential for some flurries, but overall quiet. Monday, another system moves in, bringing snow up through Labrador. Rain event as of now, it looks like, but there is some disagreement on just how further east that this system is going to move. And then as we head into Tuesday, the best chance of seeing some sunshine will actually be into Wednesday. So there is a little bit of some sunshine at the end of the forecast. Over the next couple of days, staying in those single digits for the majority of us. Here's where we're sitting. Again, windy and rainy tomorrow, and then pretty much looking at that RDF through Saturday. Might see a few peaks of sun on Sunday with a slight chance of either flurries or showers, and that'll be probably towards the evening hours. Monday, you're looking at a temperature near 5 degrees. Now for Central, 2-3 degrees really across the board, generally gray as we head into Monday. Maybe a few peaks of sun on Sunday. Western Newfoundland, pretty gray right through the beginning of the week next week. Temperatures bump up just a little bit as we head into the week and then drop right back down. Eastern Labrador generally looking at that potential for some flurries, and then Monday either rain or snow. That one's a little bit up in the air there as well, but you're sitting around 2 degrees. And then for Western Labrador, -5 tomorrow, and then a little bit of a warm up, but still staying below 0 for both Saturday and Sunday, so it does look like you'll stay in with the flurries. Anthony?
Well, thanks, Ashley. Well, one place where everybody is keeping their eyes on the weather is in Australia, where it's not cooperating very much. A new front has opened up as the country battles to contain bushfires across several states. Dozens of new fires have flared up in the south, and thousands are preparing to evacuate as flames destroy hundreds of homes.
We don't take 7 catastrophic fire danger warnings lightly. That is as bad as it gets.
Worst we've ever seen. Never seen anything like this.
About 1 million hectares of farmland and bush have been scorched, and the conditions are worse, fueled by hot weather and very strong winds. More than 100 schools were closed today as crews fought blazes and monitored the new fires. Particularly hard hit are the eastern states of New South Wales and Queensland, where the severity of fires is prompting new concerns about the effects of climate change. Well, here at home, do-it-yourselfers in 6 provinces will have fewer hardware stores to choose from on their next home improvement project. Lowe's Companies, the North Carolina-based owner of Rona and Lowe's Home Improvement Stores, is shuttering 34 stores across Canada. The company says locations in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, Quebec, and Nova Scotia have been underperforming, to use the company's words. Some employees may be transferred to other Lowe's or Rona stores. Lowe's bought out the then successful Quebec-based Rona hardware chain back in 2016, and most of the closures announced today are in Quebec. Rona packed up and left Newfoundland last year. Well, some exciting news for figure skating fans. Olympians Patrick Chan and Caitlin Osmond are in St. John's ahead of this weekend's Rock the Rink Tour at Mile 1. They'll be joined by fellow Olympic champs Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer. Osmond, of course, who's originally from Marystown, and Chan swung by the CBC studio earlier today, so we decided to have a little fun.
Toast.
Toast.
Dogs.
I have both, but dogs.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Call. I'm starting to try and call instead of texting now.
I text a lot, but I enjoy a phone call better.
Yeah. Ooh, vanilla.
Vanilla. Laundry.
Both. I love doing both. Dishes. I like doing dishes. Toque.
Toque.
All the way. Winter hat.
I don't think I've heard of winter hat ever.
Yeah, get that garbage out of here.
Delivery.
I like a nice dinner, like beautiful setting, you know, good meal.
Yeah, but in bed. Neither.
Sow cow. Sow cow?
Axel. Over sow? Yes, any day.
Really? Sow cow for me.
Oh, I do love a good pond skate.
I don't think I can say I've skated on a pond yet.
What?
Yeah, that's not very Canadian of me. Ooh.
I need to fix that. Oh no, I hit snooze. I prepare for snooze. I set like 6 alarms and hit snooze on every one.
The worst is when you push stop instead of snooze.
Yes.
And then you end up canceling the alarm completely and you miss everything.
Ooh, flying would make my job a lot easier.
Yeah. Invisible, I think.
It would be cool to be invisible.
Actually, maybe not. Invisible is being a little creepy. It's a bit creepy.
It's kind of stalker.
Yeah, kind of stalkerish. Leafs.
Leafs or Raptors?
Ooh.
Leafs,
now?
Only because I know hockey better.
I don't know. Right now, I'll say Raptors just because I'm very disappointed in the Leafs right now. But, yeah. Sorry, Tessa. Scott.
Sorry, Scott, but Tessa.
That was fun. Well, Patrick probably should maybe take a little bit of skate on this pond.
Yeah.
Got an option. Great shot here. Elsie Russell sent us this shot.
Is that him, just in the lower left?
It very well
His
might
first
be.
skate on a pond happened in Newfoundland? It's amazing.
How great would that be? Well, I'll tell you where this is too when we come back. Welcome back. Well, here's a reason to always hold on to your kids' art just in case.
That's right. A miniature book written by Charlotte Bronte when she was just 14 has just fetched more than $1 million at an auction.
It's really, it qualifies as a miniature book in every respect, and the physical dimensions of it echo the privacy of the childish world.
The perfectly preserved booklet, look at that.
Wow.
I didn't know that either of the Brontes were capable of writing a book of less than 10,000 pages, but that little booklet, that's made up of several individual cute stories. Its real value, though, is the window it provides into the development of the famous British writer's mind. Bronte would go on to write several best-selling classics, of course, Jane Eyre being the big one. This rare work is one of 6 little books, of which only 5 survive, roughly from the year 1831. So I wonder if her sister Emily actually churned one out.
Incredible.
Maybe. Yeah, so there you go. So if your kids are making little things at home, you know, because you never know, keep them. They might be auctioned off and there's your retirement.
Hey, there you go. Absolutely.
Okay, now to the ice skating.
To the ice skating. Well, there's only one place.
It's in Labrador somewhere.
Yeah, the big one's certainly in the midst of winter, aren't we? It was actually taken in Nain. So
it's a gorgeous shot.
A beautiful shot of a game of hockey at sunset. And Elsie Russell captured that beautiful moment and shared it with us.
It's a penultimate Canadian moment.
Oh,
wow.
Absolutely.
Lots of memories.
Yeah.
That's kind of skating.
That's right. Yep. If you have any photos you'd like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca. I think it'll be a while before we start to see some of those pictures on the island.
That's
for
true.
Sure.
No need for Zambonis. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
That's a great shot.